Welcome to Math with Mrs. Lehman. Good morning. This is Mrs. Lehman with my third period class. Please say hello, everyone.
Hello.
Today we're going to talk a little bit more about percents. So first thing we're going to do, though, is review our Lesson 5 exit ticket, which we use as a homework assignment. So if everybody could please open up to page 82, we are going to go through this, all right? So we talked about how any decimal can have a fraction equivalent and any percent can be written as a decimal, and we can convert between those three forms interchangeably without changing the value of those numbers, okay? So we're going to be doing that for 104 here. It says convert this number right here to a fraction and a percent. So how would we read that decimal? How would we technically read that, Liz?
3/10.
3/10. So that gives you your clue for your fraction, right? 3 over 10. Very good. So 3/10. Sometimes those will need to be simplified. Obviously, this is in simplest form, but sometimes if you have something like 25 hundredths, for example, we could then simplify it down. Does that make sense, everyone? But it gives you a good starting point. All right, now that's a fraction. We need to convert this number to a percent. So what do I need to do to convert that number to a percent, Jaden? Hold on, I'm coming back to Jaden.
You need to move the decimal point to the right 2 times.
Perfect, nice job. So 1, 2, we're going to add a what here? 0, yep. So we're going to rewrite that to make it meter. So that would be 30%, right? And our little trick to remember if we need to move the decimal right or left is if we're making it a percent, which has an R in it, we're moving it to the right. If we're changing the percent into a decimal with an L at the end of it, we move it 2 spots to the left, all right? I'm going to pause this and just check some things. Elijah just brought up a good point while the video was paused for you guys. You could have also had 30 hundredths, right? They are essentially, they are the same, they have the same value, okay? So the 0, for example, after the decimal point, oh man, hold on a sec. The 0 after the decimal point, after you have your digits, right? Anything above 1, and then after that, there are an infinite number of zeros available to you, but we don't need that, all right? So you could write it like this, or you could write it just like this, either or. Okay, the next one, convert 9% to a fraction and a decimal. So we have 9%, we need to make it a fraction and a decimal. So let's start with the decimal stuff, all right? If we have 9%, what do I need? There's a decimal point right here. What do I have to do to make that a decimal? A decimal. William?
Move the decimal point 2 spots to the left.
Very good. So, boom, boom, right there. Again, rewriting that to make it look neater. And how would you read that decimal? How would you read that? Oh, Julius. How would you read, if I said read that decimal for me, Julius, what would you say?
9/10 or 900ths.
Which one? You said both.
Bottom.
Is it 9/10 or 900ths? Because you said 9/10 and you said 900ths.
900ths.
Hundredths, very good. Yeah, so this spot is the tenths place. This is the hundredths place. So you read 9 and then it's in the hundredths place, so 900ths. All right, very good. Who here had that one correct? All right, nice job. Now, as a fraction, we know percents are out of what? What total? Everybody?
100.
100, good. So we're going to put 9 out of 100. Okay? Who here got both of those correct? Nice job. And the last one, I have seen some really scary answers on this, kids. I have a lot of kids saying 3/8 as a decimal is 0.38 or 3.8. Does anybody want to admit that that's what they did? They just took the work right out of math? Like, oh, I don't have to do that. All right? So here's a little reminder to you. This line right here means what operation?
Division.
Division, right? So you have to take 3 and divide it by 8. So to make any fraction a decimal, you need to,
Divide the numerator by the denominator.
yep, you need to divide. So remember, you need to divide. So a lot of kids are struggling which one goes into that, okay? So remember, 3 is getting chopped up by 8. 3 is going on our operating table, all right? 8 is the divisor, that's doing the dividing, okay? That's the one on top. If one of them were to fall, it would be the 3, right? So those are kind of weird or interesting ways of thinking about that, but if you're having trouble putting the correct number on the inside of this, then that should help you. The pauses for a second. All right, so once you have your setup here, we're going to go ahead and divide. Does 8 go into 3, everybody?
No.
No, so we're going to put a 0 there, all right? Again, we have a decimal place there, we just don't always need it, so we need it now. So 8 goes into 30 how many times, everybody?
3 times.
3 times, that gives you 24, good. We're going to subtract, what do you got? 6, another 0 is necessary, bring it down. 8 goes into 60,
7 times.
that gives you 56, subtract, you got 4, another 0 is needed, bring it down. 8 goes into 40, 5 times, and that ends our fun. Okay, so as a decimal, you should have had 0 and 375. How do we read that? Thousands. Yep, very good. So that should give you, if we had this decimal, right, we could start with that as our fraction and then simplify it down eventually to 3/8, right?
Mhm.
All right, now as a percent, I'm starting with this, changing it to a percent. What direction do I need to move with that, Jaden? Yep, move it to the right. How many spots? 2 spots only, yep. So that's going to be 37.5%. I've already heard today that kids have said, oh, you can't have partial percents. Of course you can. You just probably haven't seen them as much as you have seen the whole percent, all right? If we had to round that to the nearest whole percent, what would that be? Jasmine?
38.
Very good, yep. If we had to round, it would be 38 whole percent, right? But we're not rounding, so we're going to just deal with those partial amounts for now. Any questions on that? Okay, yeah, pause for a sec. I won't be long, I promise. I'm back, as promised. Don't worry, kids. I won't leave you. Yeah, I will. 2:45. See ya. All right, anyway, I'm just kidding. Page 85, we are going to start talking about percent of a quantity. So there's a few key things. Yesterday, we had one formula, kind of, and we said if we take our partial amount, our part over the whole, very good, we can then calculate the percent, and percents are always out of 100. Nice. Okay, now over here, we're going to do something different. This is an old school, tried and true method that will help you figure out which is the partial amount and which is the total amount, all right? So the key words are is over of equals percent out of 100, okay? So is over of equals percent out of 100. When we see the word is, that should help trigger your brain that it's talking about the partial amount. And when you hear of, it will help trigger your brain to know that that's the total amount or the whole amount. For example, yesterday we had a problem where it talks about a survey that was given to 1,000 people, right? And it said what number of people were happy with their job and what amount of people were dissatisfied with their job, all right? So the results were, in their example, was that 300 people, there are 300 people out of 1,000 people that were unhappy with their job. And they asked us to find what percent of people are unhappy. Okay? So that wording with the is and the of, that's in each problem essentially. It will help you determine what's the part, what's the whole, okay? So these are your tools. This will be your guidance. Does that make sense? All right, we're going to do a few practice problems. We'll continue with this more tomorrow. But when we're doing these, we're going to focus on the proportion method. I will show you the double number line method, but personally, there's no wrong way to do it for sure, but I'm going to be focusing on instructing you on how to use the proportion method, all right? So we know it's going to be part over whole equals percent out of 100, or is over of equals percent. So the beautiful thing about this is when you're setting up a proportion with percent, it's kind of like, it's like a freebie, right? You're at Sam's Club and they say, hey, would you like to try these gummy bears? And they hand a little cup of gummy bears to you. You're all going to say, hey, thanks, right? And take them. Now in math, it's like the free gummy bears of this proportion, okay? You get one of these boxes. I'll draw so the viewers can see and then erase them, right? We have one of these numbers given to us, free. Which is, what would a free number be in there? Liz?
5 of the 25.
Oh, without even reading the problem. Without even reading the problem. What's the free number?
100.
Very good. Does everybody see how the 100 is given to us? Because we know percents are out of 100, right? So that's like a freebie. So I always tell the kids, start with what you know. So we know percents are out of 100. Now let's read our problem and figure out which is the partial amount, what's the whole amount, or what's the percentage. Figure out our missing piece, okay? It says 5 of the 25 girls on Alden Middle School soccer team are 7th grade students, all right? So 5 of the 25. 5 of 25 girls are 7th grade students. So you can kind of see that the is and of, right? Except for it's plural children, so it's are instead of is in that case. All right, so it's talking about 5 of 25. Where would the 5 go? Where would the 5 go? What do you think, Will?
In the numerator spot.
Very good, the numerator spot right here. So we know that's the partial amount, right? What's the total amount of girls? I'm coming over to Tim. The total number of girls on this team?
25.
Very good. So it says of 25 girls. Does everybody see that keyword there? That's your clue that that's the total amount. It says find the percentage of 7th graders on the team. So we have to figure out how many are 7th graders. I'm sorry, not how many are, what percentage are. So we're looking for the connection to get from 25 to 100. What do we multiply by? 4, very good. And do the same thing to the top. 5 times 4 is 20. Now we don't want to leave our answer like that, so we are going to write what? 20%. 20% of the team is let's say are 7th graders. 20% of the team are 7th graders. Now this isn't part of this particular question, but if we know 20% are 7th graders, what percentage are not 7th graders? Everybody? 80, very good. So you would just figure out the other missing part, okay? So each question is going to be different. You have to read carefully because it may ask, well, what percentage are not 7th graders? Okay, Now it says to show two different ways, so I'm going to quickly walk you through a double number line. So here's number line 1, here's number line 2. I am going to do part to whole or total, okay? So we know our original ratio is 5 out of, or 5 for every 25 girls, right? So 5, and this would be 25. Now I'm going to want to scale this up to figure out the percent. I want the whole amount to be what number? 100. Yeah, I want it out of 100. So I'm going to scale this up until I get to 100. So this would be 50. This next one would be 75, and then this one would be 100. Very good. So up here we're counting by what? 5. So 5, 10, 15, 20. So there you go, right? 100. When you have 100 kids, 20 are going to be 7th graders. Does that make sense? Again, people learn differently and see things a little differently. So you have that option. We are focusing on the proportion mostly. All right, example 2, it says, of the 25 girls on the Alden Middle School soccer team, 40% also play on a travel team. What's important there? What do I underline? Tell me one thing I would underline, Trinity.
40% also play on the travel team.
All right, so we know the percentage that are traveling soccer players, right? 40%. What else do we know? Yes, Carly.
25 of the girls are, there's 25 girls on the team.
Very good. Yeah, there are 25 girls, and it says of the 25 girls, right? So that was Carly's clue that that's the total amount of girls. Each problem is going to be different. I had a kid earlier today say, well, I knew because of the problem before. Well, problems change, numbers change. Each problem's a new adventure, a new mystery to solve. So don't assume anything, okay? So of the 25 girls, so Carly said this, and where do I put the 40%? Jaden, say it real loud.
On top of the second one.
Yep, on top here. And where are the free gummy bears? Right here, okay? So, yes, please, we'll take those. It's a free 100, okay? Now, we're missing this piece. We want to figure out how many girls out of 25 are traveling kids, okay? So we're looking for that connection. We have to figure out, to get from 25 to 100, what are we doing? Multiplying by 4, very good. So 25 times 4. So what number times 4 is going to give us 40? Everybody. 10. Very good. All right, we can't leave our answer like that. We need to pull that 10 out and say 10 girls are on the traveling team, or on the travel team. All right, we're on the next page. The kids are going to do this example on their own. It says the Alden Middle School girls soccer team won 80% of its games this season. If the team won 12 games, how many games did it play? All right, we're going to just use it with solve it with a proportion. I'm going to get the right tool here. All right, so I'll give you this hint. You're like, thanks, Mrs. Lehman.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, kids. I'm here for you. All right, so I'm going to give the students a few minutes to get this set up, and we will go from there. Actually, they're not going to do all of it. I just want you to set up the pieces, underline the keywords in the problem, okay? And then transfer that info, what we know, into the correct spots down here, okay? All right, I'm going to get them started and pause you guys. So, kids are setting this up. It says the soccer team won 80% of its games. So where do I put the 80? Everybody? Top of the right, okay? For gummy bears, what do we put down here? 100. 100, very good. All right, now, we also know that 80% is the amount they lost or won. They won, right? So it says the team won 12 games. So, would the number of games they won go on top or bottom? Sue Ann, what's the official answer? The top. Who agrees with Sue Ann? Now that we think about it a little more. Yes. All right, so it should be up here. That's the part they won, right? That's not the whole number of games they played. It didn't say out of 12 games, okay? It said they won 12 games. That's a partial. Make sense, everybody? All right, they've seen the error of their ways. We're missing this piece. Now, here's a key lesson, all right? We're going to quote the famous Mr. Mattingly. If you can't divide or multiply, you must simplify. End quotes. Oops. I went too far over. All right, there's quotes there at the end. Okay. So, if you can't divide or multiply, you must simplify. Because is there a connection between 12 and 80 that's real clear? No. So, let's try simplifying this fraction. All right? Please hold on 1 second. Let's go lower. They're both divisible by 20, right? So, 20 goes into 80. 4 times it goes into 100. 5 times, right? Can we go from 4 to 12? Yeah. Multiply it by 3, and 5 times 3 is 15, all right? So 15 total games. Your homework tonight, guys, is page 87. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Everyone say bye. Bye.